Well, I'm not going to thank you yet. That will come at a later stage. But I'm going to say a few words about what really we got out of this conference, apart from all the fun and all the admiration you got from us for the work, fantastic work you did. Now, in this conference, you were representing some 100 flags, some of which, about 40% of which were represented by their chairmen or chairwomen, and the rest by members of the board or by other technical representatives. So this is a fairly different conference from the previous conference in this respect. As you know, previous conferences were mostly technically oriented. Here we were more politically, strategically oriented, considering the future. Our objective was to start preparing for this future with you, not just from the top, but from the bottom, from the practice, from the field. With your active participation and the outstanding outcomes that we just received now, we think that the aims of this conference have been fully reached. And we want, in particular, we representative of the Commission, we want to thank FARNet Support Unit for this wonderful success and for the impressive work. Now, of course, we expect you to dance and sing at the end. Now, among the achievement, I want to stress that this conference has really shown, if that was still necessary, that Axis 4 is a real success. There's no doubt about that. It was a great challenge. There were many risks involved in proposing a territorial approach to development within a sectorial policy. There was a lot of skepticism, not only from the fisheries sector itself, but from the administration in charge of implementing the EFF, and from a number of politicians. Now you've shown, over the past 3 years at least, that this is something that can work and that does work. This is a tremendous success. But it's clear that we need, for the implementation of this strategy, to look much beyond the activity of just catching fish or just raising shellfish. We have to look at the whole sector, at the whole territorial development. Now, this is a laboratory of new ideas that have been tested out. And the challenge is really to understand how a flexible framework for this policy can be applied in different ways in so many different member states, in so many different regions, in so many different territories. Now, there's no one-size-fits-all solution. It has to be adapted to each of the local territory. And this is how a new and a better future for the coastal territories and for the fisheries and aquaculture sector can be built. There are still some complex problems to be solved. Not everything is working perfectly. There's room for improvement, in particular with regard to the delivery mechanisms. Some of you are suffering dearly for this. Now we have to keep on working on solving these difficulties so that the managing authorities and the flag work well together and with the support of the European institution to ensure the greatest success over the years to come. And speaking of the future, we have now, and this was the purpose of this particular conference, to prepare for the next stages. Applying what we've learned so far, using the lessons we have drawn, and keeping on the pace. What we have achieved today and yesterday and the previous days is to get more, I wouldn't say weapons, but more means, more techniques, more benchmark and tools to keep on working in the future. Now, these will be badly needed for the challenges ahead of us. Now, the first challenge will be to maintain what has been created. There are 300 flags in operation all over Europe, in 20 member states. Many of them are only starting their operations, but they represent a very important investment, and you know better than anybody else how important an investment this is, how difficult it has been in some cases. This investment made by local communities must be used as the basis for further territorial development in coastal areas. Flags and managing authorities now need to sit together and to reflect on the measures that can be taken to ensure that the newly formed partnership remain active until the start of the new period, so that there is no gap between the two programming periods. There are several possibilities for that. They need to be explored. In particular, we may consider the provision of preparatory support under the new EMFF financial instrument, which will start, as you know, early in 2014. There is the use of technical assistance for evaluation of the local strategies in particular that can be used and can help to bridge the gap. Now, the second challenge that we have to focus our efforts upon concerns the regulations that are to be adopted and the budget. Clearly, one of your major concerns is to ensure that proper budget is secured for the future. As is explained yesterday by my colleague Jean-Pierre, the first deadline for the next stage will be the preparation of the partnership contract or partnership agreement. The name is not quite decided yet, but these are going to be decided by the member states for the use of all common strategic funds. Okay? These partnership agreements are the document in which the community-led local development strategy for each member state are going to be described first. So it is extremely important that you take an active role in the consultation for the drafting of these partnership contract or partnership agreement. If you're not present in these consultations, if you do not make your voice heard, you risk being faced with a less favorable situation than what you were hoping for. Let me give you a last word of warning regarding the possibility of including fisheries in a larger integrated local development strategy, including funding from other funds, which might sound very attractive, and it is. It is attractive, but there's a risk that if fisheries becomes only a small part in a larger strategy, it might be sidelined or even marginalized, and its implementation would be weakened as it would lose its specific feature. Our advice, therefore, is that you start from the basis, that is, from identifying your needs, and according to these needs, that you identify the development potential in your territories, which is what you've done in the last 2 days, so that you can, after that, develop the best strategy to address these needs and to take advantage of the local potential. And at a later stage, you start looking for the appropriate funding to implement this strategy. But it's in this order that you should proceed, we believe. Otherwise, you risk having a funding strategy which doesn't correspond to your needs or to your potential. Now, these are for us the major conclusion. I'm extremely happy that this was so productive, and I once again want to make special thanks to the organizers, Paul and all his team, for an extremely fruitful conference. Thank you all.